Hello guys, welcome to Bhavna's Online Academy. So today we are going to start with the consolidated balance sheet, consolidated financial statements chapter. So this, as I've already told you in the introduction, that this is one of the most biggest and known as the most technical chapters, but which I think is not. So in this journey, you will be learning all the concepts of consolidation of financial statements, all the formats that you need to know to solve the questions in the exam, and plus all the adjustments that has a possibility of coming in the exam. Okay guys, so consolidation of financial statements. So what is consolidation of financial statements? So we are going to try to split up the topic. Okay, so you have the topic known as consolidation of financial statements. So what does the topic first mean is what we are going to learn now. Okay, so you all know what is financial statement. So what is financial statements? Your balance sheet, your P&L account, your cash flow statements, all of those things come under your financial statements, right? So this is the meaning of financial statements, which you are learning from your 11th standard itself, and you are very clear about. So financial statements we all know. So what is consolidation of financial statements? So here you can see, so here suppose this is one financial statement and this is another financial statements. Okay, so these are suppose two financial statements. So in consolidation of financial statements, what you do is that these two puzzle pieces, that means these two financial statements, you bring into one piece, you bring it as one single piece. So when you join two pieces, this is going to become a one single piece, right? So the same way, if two financial statements are joined together to make into one financial statement, this is what is known as consolidation of financial statements. Two financial statements definitely means that this will be financial statements of two different companies. So you're going to join the financial statements of two different companies into one financial statement, which is known as consolidation of financial statements. Okay, so what happens is that this consolidation of financial statements, this chapter in our syllabus is only applicable to holding and subsidiary companies. It is applicable to only holding and subsidiary companies. So what happens? So what is a holding and subsidiary companies? So holding and subsidiary company, you guys know what it means. So I'll not be explaining that in our class. If you don't know, you can go and read your previous chapters so you get a good knowledge on that. So in this, I'll be covering on the core concept only, so we don't waste much of our time and concentrate on our concepts which are related to this chapter. Okay, so what happens? So a holding company might have a lot of different kinds of subsidies, right? So holding company might have a lot of different kinds of subsidies. So here what happens is that, see, so holding company, if suppose my holding company's name is H Limited, okay, and my subsidiary's company's name S Limited. Suppose this holding company has only one subsidiary, okay? So we'll assume that it has only one subsidiary. So what will happen? At the end of each financial year, this holding company will prepare its financial statements, or we can say it will prepare its balance sheet. The same way, a subsidiary company also, that is S Limited, will also prepare its balance sheet, okay, at the year end or at the financial year end. Okay, so these both companies are going to prepare their financial statements. So what is going to happen is that when the holding company is going to prepare its financial statements, so in its financial statements, so how are usually a financial statements is, so in your financial statements, you have assets, where we can say you have your non-current assets and current assets, and then you have your liabilities, and then you have something that is known as equity, where you have your equity share capital and preference share capital and your reserves and surplus and all of those stuff. So this is what is a usual balance sheet looks like. Okay, so here I am talking about a T-shaped balance sheet, but in the exam you will only be given the balance sheet in that that vertical kind of a format. Okay, so this is only for just an example. I'm drawing a T-shaped balance sheet here. Okay, so here you will have liabilities, assets, and equity. So what will happen is that in this assets there will be something in the holding company which is known as investments in subsidiary company. So you'll have something known as investments in subsidiary company, or we can say S Limited, in the balance sheet of holding company. Okay, so what will happen is that the shareholders of the company, whoever are there, so since H Limited, okay, since they are the owners of H Limited, since the shareholders of H Limited are the owners of H Limited, they would like to know how this subsidiary company is also working. So they would also like to know what is the position of S Limited. That means what are the assets of S Limited, like what are the liabilities of S Limited, like so all of these things they would also like to know. So in short, in simple form, if I want to say, consolidation of financial statements is nothing but getting two financial statements together. One will be the financial statement of holding company, another will be the financial statement of subsidiary company. What you will do is you will merge these. That means you will consolidate both the holding companies and subsidiaries companies financial statements, or I can say balance sheet together, and prepare consolidation of financial statements. That is your consolidated balance sheet. Okay, so in this in this syllabus we have two things that are covered. One is consolidated balance sheet and the other one is consolidated profit and loss. So for the first few clauses we'll be concentrating more on consolidated balance sheet only. So what is consolidated balance sheet? When two balance sheets come together, that is one of holding company and one of subsidiary company. Okay, so here what will happen is that, so see, now we'll get into a little bit of a concept. Until whatever you have understood, we'll see. Okay, so what I have written here, see, consolidated accounts, that is, it is one form of group accounts. It is a form of once again, it is a form of group accounts. So group accounts means getting a grouping. Okay, when two friends meet, they are called a group. When three friends meet, they are called a group. Okay, so something like that, a group account which combines. What it combines? So why do we do this group accounting? Information contained in separate accounts of holding company and its subsidiaries. That means in a holding company balance sheet, there will be separate information. In subsidiary company's balance sheet, there will be separate information. So both these information which are there in the separate accounts of holding company and subsidiary company, they will be combined together to form one group account. Okay, as if they were the accounts of a single entity. So we'll combine these two and show it like it was like a single entity account. Okay. So here they tell you that CFS are prepared by adding together the assets and liabilities of holding and subsidiary company. How easy is CFS? See, what you have to do is, here you have holding company. Here you have subsidiary company. Here you have assets of holding company. Here you have liabilities of holding company. The same way in subsidiary company also, here you have assets of subsidiary company and liabilities of subsidiary company. Here in this sentence, what they tell you, CFS are prepared by adding together the assets and liabilities of holding and subsidiary company. That means when you make a consolidated balance sheet, what you will do, when you write assets, you will add the holding company's assets and subsidiary company's asset. When you add the liability, when you write the liabilities in a consolidated balance sheet, you will add the holding company's liabilities and subsidiary company's balance sheet. Okay, so tell me guys, isn't this easy? Are you clear until this? Are you clear until this? Isn't this easy? So now what we are going to see is, we are going to see an example here. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to see a few examples here. Okay, so let's see. So let's move on to seeing the example. So here in this example, they have given you a balance sheet. So the balance sheet is 31st March 2020. Okay, so on that balance sheet, they have given you two balance sheets. One is of holding company and the other one is of subsidiary company. Okay. So in holding company's balance sheet, they have given you equity, share capital, liabilities, I mean in both the companies, and then in a holding company and subsidiary company, again you have assets where you have fixed assets and current assets. Here, one thing that is different will be investments in subsidiary company, 3 lakh rupees. So here what they tell you is, so when this holding company acquired subsidiary company, so they paid an amount to get the subsidiary company. So whenever you want to buy a company, okay, suppose this is one company, H Limited. This is another company, S Limited. Okay, so whenever a company wants to become a holding of another company, what they have to do is, they have to acquire more than 51% of the, more than 50% of the share capital in the other company. That's how they will come into holding, or they will need to have a control over the board of directors. So these are the two ways a company can get control over the other company. So when H Limited would have wanted to become the wanted to become the holding of S Limited, what would it have done? What would it have done? Well, it would have paid a few amount, okay, to subsidiary company to get their share capital and become the holding, that is 50% plus. It would have wanted holding and it would have paid money and got that holding. So that is nothing with that is known as investment in S Limited. So H Limited, what it did was it paid 3 lakh rupees to get what do you say, to get the holding power in S Limited. So that is nothing but your investment in S company, or you can say S Limited. Okay. So yes, here down they have told you that. So what happens is the H Limited and S Limited, it can either acquire 100% of holding, or it can acquire 85% of holding, or it can acquire what do you say, 75% or 70% or 60% or 51%. Any amount of holding it can acquire. Can someone tell me, will H Limited be a holding of S Limited if it acquires 15%? So here they have told you that H Limited acquired 100% shares in S Limited. So they have told you that they have H Limited has acquired 100% shares in S Limited. That means whatever shares were there in S Limited, 100% of it is acquired by H Limited. That means in such case the holding of H Limited will also be 100%. Okay, in such case the holding of H Limited will also be 100%. Okay. So in this, okay, so here I like to give you information that in this chapter of consolidation of financial statements, when here you will have to know how much is the holding percentage. So here in this chapter, you will have to find out how much is the holding percentage to solve your sums. So in this chapter, this holding percentage which is there, you know, in this chapter, this is known as the holding interest. So holding percentage in this chapter is known as your holding interest. So you have to find out in this chapter how much a holding company has a holding interest in the subsidiary company. So how will you find out that is how much is the share of holding company in the share capital of subsidiary company or S limit or subsidiary company. So here how will you find out how much is the holding interest? Holding interest or holding percentage will be found out by, you have to see how much is the share of holding company in the share capital of subsidiary company, in the share capital of subsidiary company. So here you can see they have told you that you have acquired 100% of shares in S Limited. That means how much is the holding interest or the holding percentage I can say here. So it will be H 100%. So here the holding company has acquired 100%. It has 100% holding interest. Okay. So here they have told you to prepare a here they have told you that H Limited acquired, they have told you that H Limited acquired 100% shares in S Limited on 31st March 20. Okay. So here there is one more thing that I would like to tell you, that see, so this is the year starting 1/4. Okay. Suppose we'll take it as 1/4/19. This is the year start. Okay. I mean financial year start. So when does the financial year end? Financial year would end on 31st March 20. So this will be your financial year end. Okay. So what happens is that here the holding company, what might happen is holding company can, acquire shares in the subsidiary company. That is, before acquiring shares of subsidiary company, the H Limited will not be called as your holding company. Only once after H Limited acquires shares in the subsidiary company, it will be called as your holding company. So when will this be called as holding company? I just now told you that you have to acquire shares. So this acquisition of shares, or to become a holding company, it can become a holding company at any point of time in the year. It can become a holding company at any point of time in the year. It can get the shares of subsidiary company on 1/4, or it can get the shares of subsidiary company on 31st March. Okay. So it can get the shares of subsidiary company at any point of time. It can get in the middle of the year, or after a little bit start on the year, or towards the end of the year. So at any point of time, it can acquire the shares of subsidiary company. So whenever it acquires a share of subsidiary company, such dates will be known as the date of acquisition. So when the holding company acquires the shares of S Limited company, it will be known as the date of acquisition. So can someone tell me what is the date of acquisition in this example? Here in the bottom line, they have told you that H company acquired 100% shares in S Limited on 31st March 20. So here the answer is 31st March is the date when, so 31st March is the date when you have acquired 100% shares. So here this 31/3/20. So this 31/3/20 here is nothing but your date of acquisition. I will write it as DOA, date of acquisition. So here there is one more date that you have to know, that is known as your, here I'll write, wait. So that is here. That is known as your date of consolidation. So now you have understood what is date of acquisition. So now here you have to understand something known as date of consolidation. So what is date of consolidation? Date of consolidation means when the two companies' financial statements merge together, that will be known as your date of consolidation. Can you guys tell me here, when are we going to prepare the consolidated financial statements, or what is the date of consolidation here? Can someone tell me what is the date of consolidation here? So here the date of consolidation is, so prepare, we are going to prepare the balance sheet on 31st March 20 only. So whenever there is known as a date of consolidation will always be on 31st March only. The date when you prepare balance sheet only you can consolidate it, correct? So date of consolidation will always be your balance sheet date. Always remember, date of acquisition is when holding company has acquired shares in subsidiary company. Date of consolidation is when you prepare your balance sheets or your balance sheet date. Okay, fine. So now what we are going to do is, now we are going to try and solve this example sum. So here they have told us to prepare the consolidated balance sheet. So here, since my stylus is not working, I'll be typing. Okay, so you can see. So first we will find out something known as holding interest. So how much was holding interest? Holding interest was 100%. It was 100%. Next, I hope you're able to see this. Okay, you're down. Yeah, holding interest was 100%. Okay, next what we had to find? We had to find date of acquisition. So date of acquisition was 31st March 20. What was date of consolidation? Date of consolidation was 31st March 20. So these three information, you know, always whenever you start a consolidation question, always write these three information and then only start your question. Okay, so it is very important. Always make a working note and try to start your question with this. Okay, guys. Okay, so now we have wrote all these three. So now let's start by preparing our consolidation. Wait, I'll just increase the size. So here now we are going to prepare the consolidated balance sheet. Okay, so here I don't think I'll be able to prepare like a proper format since my stylus is not working. Let's see. I think it should start working in a few minutes. Okay, so consolidated balance sheet. So what did I told you what you have to do in consolidated balance sheet? You have to do nothing but add both your liabilities and assets. Okay, so here when I tell you have to add your liabilities and assets, liabilities does not include your share capital and reserves and surplus. Always remember that your liabilities, here I will write, see that your liabilities does not include your share capital and your reserves and surplus. Okay, so assets includes all assets. Okay, but your liabilities will not include share capital and reserves and surplus. So what we are going to do now is that, so how much ever we know, that we are going to consolidate, and the remaining part I will make you learn later. So just write. So just one second, guys. Okay. So let me write. So equity, share capital, we don't know what to do. Just leave that. Now take liabilities. So liabilities, what you have to write when you prepare a consolidated balance sheet? You have to add your holding company's liabilities with subsidiary company's liabilities. Can someone tell me what is the total? So it will be 5 lakh plus 4 lakh. So it is going to be 5 lakh plus 4 lakh, which is nothing but 9 lakh rupees. Okay. Then you have your assets. So in assets, you have fixed assets. So fixed assets, what will you write amount in a consolidated balance sheet? It will be holding company plus subsidiary company, which is 4,50,000 plus 5,50,000. Okay, so 4,50,000 plus 5,50,000 is going to be 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Next, you have investment in subsidiary company. So always remember, okay, so for now, what you can do is you can skip the investment in subsidiary company. I will tell you in a later part why you are skipping this. Okay. So now you can write your current assets. Current assets, what is the holding company and subsidiary companies? It is 2,50,000 plus 1,50,000. How much is that? 2,50,000 plus 1,50,000. It is 4 lakh rupees. Okay. So now first let's talk about something known as equity share capital, or you can say this is applicable for all the share capital and reserves and surplus. So whenever you prepare a consolidated balance sheet, in your consolidated balance sheet, the equity equity share capital and reserves and surplus will be only return that of the holding company. Only of the holding company you will write here. Okay. So here if I write of the holding company, what will come in equity share capital? Can you guys please tell me what will come in the equity share capital here? Can someone answer me? Here only holding company's part should come. Please say what will come. So here the answer will be 5 lakh. Okay. So now if you total what will be the total of the side of liabilities? Here the total will be 14 lakh. The same way if you total the asset sides, what will be the total? 14 lakh. This is how you prepare a consolidated balance sheet, guys. So here I have told you about how the equity, that means your equity share capital, preference share capital and reserves and surplus will be taken in consolidated balance sheet. All these three components here, all these three components, that is your equity, write this down somewhere, reserves and surplus. Equity includes equity share capital, preference share capital and reserves and surplus. Only that of holding company you will take. Liabilities, both of holding and subsidiary. Assets also, both of holding and subsidiary. Here you can see if I zoom in here, now you can see here the investment in subsidiary company. Here the investment in subsidiary company, that is this 3 lakh rupees. Here this 3 lakh rupees gets cancelled with this 3 lakh rupees. So what happens here is that, see, this is like so you don't need, even if you combine this will have no effect on the balance sheet, because the equity share capital of S Limited is equal to the investments in S Limited by holding company. Okay, so you understand. So always remember, whenever you prepare something like consolidated balance sheet, whatever there is like mutual owings, or if there is some like, something which is equal on both sides, like in one thing has been given from subsidiary company to holding company, or a thing is given from holding company to a subsidiary company, those things you will not bring in consolidated financial statement. So here 3 lakh rupees of share capital of subsidiary company is nothing but the investment in subsidiary company shown here as 3 lakh. So since these both are like the same things, that should not be combined in the consolidated balance sheet. So this is how you prepare your consolidated balance sheet, guys. So are you clear with this? Do you guys have any doubts? So this was all the basics. So now what we are going to do is, now that we have understood what the consolidation of financial statements is, or how a consolidated balance sheet is prepared, what is date of consolidation, date of acquisition, holding interest. After this, we are going to move on to our next step. So now this is the basic. If any basic sum is given, you will be able to solve now. So now the next topic that we are going to move on to is known as your working notes. So it is nothing but it is known as your working notes. So what is this working notes? So here, so whenever you start a question, like the simple question and all, they will not ask. So there will be a few working notes that you will have to prepare. So there will be a few working notes that you will have to prepare to actually solve your consolidation questions. So for consolidated balance sheet especially, okay. So here we have, so here as you can see, okay, yeah, I hope it's visible. Yes, so here we are going to prepare 4 working notes. So here we are going to prepare 4 working notes, okay. So working note number 1 is analysis of net assets. Working note number 2 is cost of control. Working note number 3 is minority interest. Working note number 4 is consolidated reserves and surplus. So only once you are preparing these 4, these 4 working notes, you will be able to solve your balance sheet. So before you start solving your balance sheet, you have to prepare these 4 working notes. So now what we are going to do is, now we are going to see this working notes one by one. Okay, so now we are going to start seeing this working notes one by one and try to understand it. Okay, so now let's start with the first working note. So now we are going to start with the first working note. So now here when I'm discussing it separately, it will be difficult for you to understand why are we even doing this working note. But once we start solving a full-fledged consolidated question, you will quite easily understand why we have to bring these working notes in place. Okay. So here, so we are going to start with the first working notes, which is analysis of net assets. So here what I'm going to do is I'll stop the meeting now. You guys can join in back. Okay. So yes, so now we are starting with our working note number 1. So working note number 1 is nothing but your analysis of net assets. So what is net assets? So first here we have to understand something that is known as net assets. So what is net assets? So can someone tell me what is net assets? How do you usually find out net assets? Net assets usually is found out by doing assets. You will usually do assets minus liabilities and find out your net assets. So what is net assets? Net assets is by doing assets minus liabilities, you will find out your net assets. Okay. So here what we are going to do is we are going to analyze those net assets. Here we are going to do the analysis of net assets. That means nothing. We are going to analyze all your assets and all your liabilities. That is your net assets and give an analysis on that. So whose net assets are we going to analyze here? Always remember we are going to analyze the net assets of subsidiary company. We are going to analyze the net assets of which company? Subsidiary company, not the holding company. We are going to analyze the net assets of subsidiary company. So here, before we dive into the topic, so there is one thing that I would like to tell you. So see here, this man is analyzing. So this man is analyzing. Okay. So now let's see. So see, suppose this is a balance sheet. Okay, so here I have told you that whenever you make a balance sheet, here you have assets, here you have liability, and here you have something known as equity. For the nth number of time, I'm telling you that equity will include your share capital and also reserves and surplus. Equity doesn't not mean equity shareholders. Equity and equity shareholders are different, or equity share capital is different. Equity means it includes both share capital and your reserves and surplus. Okay, I hope you're clear on that note. Okay, so now yes, so here I told you that we are going to do the analysis of net assets. That is nothing but, sorry, here I have written it a bit wrongly. Yeah, so here this is liability and here this is assets. So here I told you that we are going to do the analysis of net assets. That means the assets and liabilities we are going to analyze. Okay, but here, can someone tell me what is the shortcut of finding out net assets? Suppose here I will write you, suppose your assets is 10 lakh rupees, your liabilities is 3 lakh, and here your equity is suppose 7 lakh. So then it will be 10 lakh on each side. Okay, so here I told you I'll be analyzing your net assets. So if you find out net assets by using assets minus liabilities, what will be your net assets? It will be 10 lakh minus 3 lakh. That means for 7 lakh, we are going to do the analysis. That means analysis of net assets means for the 7 lakh amount, we are going to do the analysis. Can here someone tell me another way to how to analyze this? Rather than directly analyzing assets minus liabilities, is there any other approach that we can use to analyze the net assets? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So here there is one more way by which you can do the analysis of net assets rather than doing assets minus liabilities. Here what you can do is you can directly do the analysis of this equity. So this equity is nothing but a form of net assets only. Rather than doing assets minus liabilities, you directly take the equity, because assets minus liabilities is 10 lakh minus 3 lakh, 7 lakh, and equity is also 7 lakh only. So rather than doing the, so for finding out net assets, there are two methods. Okay, so for finding out, wait. So here I'll write. So for finding out net assets, there are actually two methods. One way is you can do assets minus liabilities and find out the net assets. Another way is you can use the equity approach. So this is known as your equity approach. So here in this chapter, what we are going to do is we are going to use the equity approach only. So here we are going to use the equity approach only. Rather than going by assets minus liabilities, we will do the equity approach. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, now we are going to analyze this equity. we are going to make an analysis of this equity. So I hope the basic that what is net assets, how are the two ways we can find out net assets, we are clear. And in this chapter, we are going to use the equity approach only for finding net assets. Okay. So here, coming back to the topic. So now we are going to do the analysis of net assets. So analysis of net assets here means using equity approach. That means here what you are going to do is, once again. So here what you are going to do is, here you are going to do the analysis of equity share capital, reserves and surplus, and P&L account. P&L account is also included in reserves and surplus, but I'm showing it separately. Okay, so equity share capital, reserves and surplus, and P&L. So doing the analysis of all these three is the working note number 1. Okay. So first, starting with analysis of subsidiary company. Okay, so here they have told you that we are going to do the analysis of subsidiary companies, reserves and surplus, and also the equity share capital case. Okay, so here we are going to do the analysis of subsidiary companies, reserves and surplus as. So here what we are going to do is we are going to split the reserves and surplus or the net assets into pre-acquisition. We are going to split this into something known as pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. So, okay. So, what is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition? So, we need to understand that now. Okay. So, now we'll go and first understand what is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Okay. Suppose this is a timeline. Okay. Suppose this is a timeline. So here what has happened in here we will take that the financial year starts by 1/4 and it ends by 31/3. So we are going to assume that suppose our company we have acquired, that means holding company has acquired subsidiary company on suppose 1/7. It has acquired the subsidiary company on 1/7. Okay. So if it has acquired the company on 1/7, that means 1/7 is known as your date of acquisition. Here, what is your date of consolidation? 31/3 will be your date of consolidation. Okay. Date of consolidation. Okay. So now that we have acquired the subsidiary company on 1/7, that is on the date of acquisition. So here we are going to split this time period. So this time period, we are going to split it into pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. That means the time period before your acquisition, that means before your acquisition will be known as your pre-acquisition period. Whereas the time period after your acquisition will be known as your post-acquisition period. So I hope the understanding of pre-acquisition period and post-acquisition period is clear to you all. So what is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition period? So the time period before the date of acquisition is pre-acquisition period, and the time period after the date of pre-acquisition period is known as your post-acquisition. I mean, day after your acquisition is known as your post-acquisition period. So I hope what is pre-acquisition and what is post-acquisition clear to you all. Do you guys have any doubt in what is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition? You can please let me know. Okay, because it is very, very important to have a knowledge of what is pre-acquisition and post-acquisition is to solve the working note number 1. Okay. So here I have told you that this pre-acquisition and post-acquisition profit will be based on your date of acquisition. So before date of acquisition, pre-acquisition. After date of acquisition, post-acquisition. Post-acquisition. Simple. Okay. So now they have given you a format, so it makes things easier for you to solve in the exam. So here it is not important that you follow the set format, but it will be easier to have a uniformity while you solve all the sums. Okay. So now let's start with the format. So this is the format for analysis of net assets. Okay. So first you will write your particulars. Here you will write your, once again. So here you will write your particulars, then you will write your pre-acquisition, then you will write post-acquisition, and then you will write total. So pre-acquisition means till the date of acquisition. So pre-acquisition means nothing but till the date of your acquisition, whatever had happened will be pre-acquisition. After the date of acquisition, till the date of consolidation, we are going to take it into post-acquisition period. Okay. Okay. See here what we are going to do is, I told you that what is the name of the first working note? It is nothing but analysis of net assets. So whatever net assets are available in the company, we are going to write it in the particulars. So what are the different kinds of net assets that can be available in a company? It may be equity share capital. They may have general reserve. They may have P&L. Okay, so whatever net assets are available in the subsidiary company, all those net assets you have to take and write it into the particulars column. Okay, so here I have written equity share capital and reserves and surplus as on a general note. Okay, so then you have okay, so here what you have to first do is, first you have to take your equity share capital and split it into pre-acquisition, post-acquisition, and the total, that is pre-acquisition plus post-acquisition. The same way, next what you have to do is, you have to take your reserves and surplus of subsidiary company. You have to split it into pre-acquisition, post-acquisition, and then you have to do the total. So this is what is your first step in the format. You have to take your equity share capital and reserves and surplus and first split it. What is belonging to pre-acquisition period, what is belonging to post-acquisition, and then add both and write the total. Okay, so once you write this total, here what will happen is, so here you will get a pre-acquisition total, here you will get a post-acquisition total. Okay, so using now what has happened is, so whatever equity share capital and reserves and surplus is belonging to pre-acquisition will come here, right? And whatever equity share capital is pertaining to post-acquisition will come here. Then whatever reserves and surplus is pertaining to post-acquisition, it will come here. Okay, so now here once you have found out whatever the total of pre-acquisition and post-acquisition is, you have to divide it into, suppose if we get a total of pre-acquisition as suppose 30,000. Suppose I get a pre-acquisition total of equity share capital and reserves and surplus is 30,000. This 30,000, what you have to do is, you have to divide it into holding interest and minority interest. Okay, so that means how much is belonging to the holding company, how much of this is belonging to minority, you have to see. So what is minority interest here? Okay, so what is minority interest? I'll first explain that and I'll come to this explanation again. So okay, so look into this box. So here you have holding company. Here you have subsidiary company. Okay. Suppose holding company has a holding percentage of 80% in the subsidiary company. What is this 80% known as? What is this 80% of holding is known as? Can someone tell me? What is this holding percentage of 80% known as? This will be known as your holding interest. This will be known as nothing but your holding interest. Okay, one second. Okay, so here the remaining 20%, so you have 80% here. What about the remaining 20%? Okay, so what about the remaining 20%? The remaining 20% who are holding the subsidiary company, they will be known as minority. They will be known as your minority. Okay, one second. Yeah, they will be known as your minority. So here what will happen? So 80% which is the holding which is held by the holding company will be known as holding interest. That means the 20% which is held by the minority will be known as your minority interest. Okay, so I hope this concept is clear. Is this concept clear, guys? Until now whatever I have told you, is it clear? Okay, so here I have given you as 30,000. So if you get a pre-acquisition total of 30,000, this 30,000 you have to split it into holding interest and minority interest. That means if holding interest is 70% or 80%, you have to split it 30,000 into 80%. How much will it be? It will be 24,000. Okay, so the pre-acquisition profits that are belonging to the holding company is 24,000. Here the pre-acquisition profit of 30,000. What is the share of minority interest in this? It is 20%, which is nothing but 16,000. So 16,000 of pre-acquisition profits here belong to the minority interest. So this is what is your first working note. Okay, like this you have to split and show. So now once we do example, it will be more clear to you. But until this, do you guys have any doubt? Please tell me if you have any doubt, because there are a lot of concepts I have just discussed. If you have any doubt, I'll clear it right now and then we can move on. So now let's see an example. So now we are going to start seeing an example. Okay. So in this example, what you have to do is, you have to do the working note number 1. So in this example, you have to do working note number 1. Okay. So here what they tell you that extracts of balance sheet of H Limited are given and also S Limited are given as on 31st March 2018. Okay. Here they have given for H Limited. Here they have given for S Limited. Okay. They have given you equity share capital, general reserve, profit and loss, and investments in S Limited. Okay. So here they have told that H Limited has acquired 30,000 equity shares in S Limited on 1/4/17. 30,000 equity shares in S Limited on 1/4/17. So from this, what is the information are you able to pick? First information, I'll write it. First information that you are able to pick here is that the date of acquisition. So what is the date of acquisition? It is 1/4/17. Next information that you are able to pick from here is, I hope you are able to see what I'm writing. Yes. So next I'm typing in the sense. So the next is date of consolidation. So when will be the date of consolidation then? Then it will be 31st March 2018. Okay. Next, what is the holding interest here? Can someone tell me what is the holding? HI means holding interest. Okay. So what is the holding interest here? Here, just give me a second, please. 1 second. Okay, so here they have told you that you have acquired 30,000 equity shares in S Limited. Okay, so in S Limited, totally they have told you that the equity share capital of S Limited is how much? 5 lakh rupees. How much has S Limited acquired? 30,000 equity shares. Okay. Suppose now here what we are going to do is we are going to assume that the face value is 10%. I mean face value is 10 rupees. Here we are going to assume the face value is 10 rupees and solve the sum. Okay. If suppose the face value was 10 rupees, then what would have been the holding interest? How much the holding company has acquired shares in the S Limited? That only, right? So how much shares are there in S Limited? So the number of shares in S Limited, here it would be 5 lakh divided by 10. How much is 5 lakh divided by 10? It is nothing but holding company has 50,000 shares. Okay. So holding company has 50,000 shares. Whereas how much shares does, subsidiary company has 50,000 shares. How much? Already Sangeeta's answer. Very good. Very good. Just give me a second, guys. Yes, just not feeling a bit good. Okay, so holding interest. So how much will be the holding interest here? There will be how much shares does the whole H Limited has? 30,000 shares. What are the total number of shares that H Limited has? 50,000 shares. So 50,000, 30,000 by 50,000 into 100 will be the holding interest, which is nothing but 60%. Sangeeta, you're correct. Very good. So here the holding interest is 60%. I hope you are clear with this. You don't have any doubts here. So we'll go and write here. So we'll go here and write that holding interest is how much? Once again. Yeah, holding interest is 60%. 60%. So someone can tell me how much will be the minority interest here? What will be the minority interest if holding interest is 60%? The remaining will be the minority interest. Very easy. So the minority interest here will be 40%. Okay. So the whenever you see, here you can see. See here you have something known as investments in S Limited. So your investment in S Limited is given as 5 lakh rupees. Just by seeing the investments is 5 lakh rupees and the share capital of S Limited is 5 lakh rupees, you should not decide that it is 100% of holding. Okay, holding always depends on the number of shares that have been acquired. See, he might have purchased only shares worth 3 lakh rupees, but the holding company, seeing the worth of S Limited, it would have given 2 lakh rupees extra also. Okay, so regarding that, we'll read a bit later, but I'm telling you now it's this. So investments are not a deciding factor. Equity shares are the deciding factor for holding interest and minority interest. Okay. Yes, so now we have taken all the general information. So now let's start by preparing our working note number 1. Okay. Okay. So we'll just directly prepare in the format that we already have. No, I think there is one more requirement here. Okay, so here I have space. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Just erase this out. Yes. So whatever is here, we'll just erase it so we get more space. Okay. In this, I'll shift it here. Okay, fine. Yes. So now let's start. Okay. Okay. So first everyone can take your notebooks and start preparing the format with me. Okay. So that will easily be get memorized. Okay. So what is the format? So here format, first you will have to write something known as particulars. First is particulars, and then below particulars, whatever you have in the subsidiary company, you have to write. So what and all you have equity share capital, then you have something known as general reserve, and then what do you have? You have P&L account. So write that also. I'm writing as P&L account. And investments you don't need to write. Okay. So whatever are the equity in S Limited alone, if you write, it's enough. Okay. So what is the next column that you have to prepare? You have to prepare something known as pre-acquisition. Pre-acquisition. Then you have to prepare something that is known as post-acquisition. So in post-acquisition, always remember, see, so in post-acquisition, you have to always remember that you will have to write three things, okay? So see here. So here you will have to write equity. One second, guys. So here in post-acquisition, you have to write all the three things which are there in the, what do you say? In the subsidiary company, the same things, whatever you have written in particulars, again write it under post-acquisition. So it is equity share capital. Then you have general reserve, or I'll write it as general reserve. And then finally you have P&L account. The same things again, you have to write it in your post-acquisition. And then finally, what is the last column? Can someone tell me? What is the last column? The last column here is total. Okay. I just hope my stylus starts working. It's not working at all. Okay, fine. No issues. We'll adjust. Okay. So what is the equity? Okay. So here first what you have to do is, so this, when is this extracts of balance sheet given? This extracts of balance sheet here, it is given on, see, so here this extracts of balance sheet is given on 31st March 2018. It is given on 31st March 2018. That means whatever figures are being shown in this balance sheet, it is all on date of consolidation. See, what is the date of consolidation? We wrote it is 31st March 2018. So it's everything that is on the date of consolidation. So here, what is the date of consolidation column that we prepare here? So your total column is where you write things related to date of consolidation. Okay. So the same thing now we are going to follow, and in the total column we are going to write. Okay, one second. We are going to write all the things that are given in the balance sheet now in the total column. Okay. So let's start with that. Okay. Okay. So what is the equity share capital of S Limited? Equity share capital of S Limited is 5 lakh rupees. Next, what is the general reserve of S Limited? The final balance, closing balance, 6,48,000. Next, what is the P&L balance of S Limited? It is nothing but 2,52,000. Okay, so this is the this is the total that is on the date of consolidation. These are the closing values of equity share capital, general reserve and P&L account. So here we didn't read the question fully yet, right? So here in the question you can see, so here they have told you that the credit balance of P&L account. So credit balance of P&L account here means that will come on the liability side only, okay, of S Limited on 1/4/17. That means on 1/4/17 means this is on the date of acquisition. We prepare a pre-acquisition column regards to a date of acquisition only, right? So this column right here is prepared in relation to date of acquisition only. That means till the date of acquisition, whatever the balances were there, you have to write it under the pre-acquisition column. Okay. So credit balance of P&L was 20,000 and that of the general reserve was 6 lakh rupees. So they have given you the balances as on the pre-acquisition. I mean as on the acquisition date also. So you can directly write down that. So first we'll start with general reserve. So what is the balance of general reserve they have given is 6 lakh rupees. Then next they have told you that for P&L account, what is the opening balance of P&L account? It is nothing but 20,000. Okay. So here what has happened for equity share capital, they have not given you the opening balance. Right? For equity share capital, they have not given you the opening balance. So in such case, what you will do is that this is a general assumption that has been taken that if suppose the opening balance of equity share capital is not given, in such case, whatever the balance is shown as on the date of date of consolidation, it is taken as its opening. It is taken as its opening balance itself. So what will be the pre-acquisition? Under pre-acquisition profits, what will be the amount of equity share capital? Can someone tell me? Please tell me what will be the amount here. Can I get an answer, please? 5 lakh rupees. I don't know why you guys are so slow in answering. So it is nothing but 5 lakh rupees. Okay. So it will be 5 lakh rupees here. Okay. So regarding this also, see, when in the opening date, if the amount is not given, what are the amounts that will take? Regarding that, we have a separate point itself. I'll discuss later. But for now, you just learn about equity share capital. Okay. Okay. So now let's start solving the remaining question. So here, so what will be the post acquisition? Then if pre-acquisition was 5 lakh, on the date of consolidation, that is total also 5 lakh, then in such case it will be nil, right? So in post acquisition, there will be no equity share capital which has been which has been issued, right? Okay, next we are going to move on to general reserve. Okay, so in general reserve, your opening balance was 6 lakh. Your closing balance is 6,48,000. So in post acquisition period, what is the general reserve you have taken? You have added, that is 48,000. Next, the pre-acquisition, that is opening P&L account, is 20,000. Closing P&L, is it 20,000 or 2 lakh? Wait, just give me a second, guys. So here I made a mistake, guys. Actually, in the question I've written it wrongly. It is actually 2 lakh rupees. Okay, in the question here you can change. Okay, 2 lakh rupees. So in such case, what will be the, so if opening balance of P&L is 2 lakh and the closing balance of P&L is 2 lakh 52,000, what is the post-acquisition period profit? Post-acquisition period profit is 52,000. Okay, so this was the first format of that is the first half of the format. Now, what you have to do is you have to do nothing but you'll just have to total this. So now let's total this, okay? You have to just, okay, total each column now. So what is the total of pre-acquisition profits? Can someone tell me? The pre-acquisition profits, what is the total here? Please tell me what is the total here. So it is nothing but 5 lakh plus 6 lakh plus 2 lakh. 5 lakh plus 6 lakh plus 2 lakh. It is nothing but 13 lakh rupees. So it is 13 lakh rupees. Okay. Next equity share capital, it is nil. Then general reserve total, what is the general reserve total? It is 48,000. For pre-acquisition, for post-acquisition alone, you have to show it separately, guys. I'll tell you why in the later when we solve the whole full-fledged question. Then you have P&L account. What is the total of P&L account? It is 52,000. Post-acquisition is 52,000. Here, what is the total? Total of this actually is not required. Okay. You can do the total and write here, or it's up to your choice. Next thing that you have to find out is holding interest. Holding interest, how much did we find out? It is 60%. So the pre-acquisition profit or post-acquisition profit, how much is it relating to holding interest? You have to find out. So in 13 lakh, what is the 60%? 13 lakh into 60% is 7,80,000. So it is nothing but 7,80,000, right? So 7,80,000 is your pre-acquisition share of holding company. For minority also, you can simultaneously find out 40%, right? Minority interest is 40%. Okay. So for minority interest, what will be the share of pre-acquisition profits? It will be nothing but 13 lakh into 40%, which will be 5 lakh 20,000. If I make a mistake in numbers somewhere, you can also let me know. Okay. Next. So in post-acquisition profit, the you know, what do you say? The portion of holding interest is 48,000 into 60%, which will be 48,000 into 60% is 28,800. Minority interest will be 19,200. I hope you are understanding how I am finding out these. Then again for P&L account. Again for a P&L account, so 52,000 is total. What is the holding interest percentage? So it is nothing but, yes, I think you have just by mistake you have scribbled on something on the screen. Just take it out. Okay. into 60 percentage. So 52,000 into 60 percentage is 30 to 31,200. And then minority interest of post acquisition profits is 40 percentage. That is 52,000. So sorry, by mistakenly, no issues, no issues. Can you just take it out if possible? Okay, 20,800. Okay, thank you. Yes. So this is all. This is how you prepare your working note number 1. So do you guys have any doubts on how to prepare the working note number 1? How you will use it to prepare a consolidated balance sheet? I will explain it to you later. But for now, have you understood how to prepare a working note? So now I'll explain what this working note is about, okay? So here, as you can see here you have pre-acquisition. Once again. So here you have pre-acquisition. That means relating to the period before. Period before your acquisition, what are the pre-acquisition profits or equity that you have in the company? It was 13 lakh rupees. In that 13 lakh rupees, the share of holding was 7,80,000 and the share was minority was 5,20,000. Then we found out after the company was acquired by the holding company, what are the post-acquisition changes in the company? What are the post-acquisition movements in the company? Okay, in relation to the equity, that is in relation to equity share capital, general reserve and P&L account. Okay, so here then we found out a few movements, and in that movements also, general reserve and P&L account, how much is it related to holding interest, how much is it related to minority interest, we found out. Until this, do you guys have any doubts? Is this concept of what do you say, analysis of net assets clear? So here we have analyzed the net assets, that is the equity into pre-acquisition, post-acquisition, and then we have also analyzed how much is in relation to holding interest and minority interest. Do you guys have any doubts in this? Is it all clear? So if a question like this is given, I hope you are able to solve the question. Okay, so now what we'll do after this is all the 4 working notes. So 1 working note we have already seen. The remaining 3 working notes are very easy. Whatever information you need for the remaining 3 working notes, you will get from the working note 1 itself. So working note 1 is the most important. Working note 2, 3 and 4 are dependent on working note 1 only. So that you will easily be able to understand. Okay. So after completing the 4 working notes, we will do a full-fledged question in relation to all the 4 working notes. Okay. So now I think we can move on to the second working note. So what is the name of the first working note? It was analysis of net assets. Analysis of net assets. Second working note, how simple, see, small, sweet working note. Yes. Okay. So here you have something known as a cost of control working note. So this is your cost of control working note. So what is cost of control? Okay. So here what happens whenever you want something. Okay. So here see. 1 second. We'll move on to this slide. Okay. So this is me. Okay. So if I go to some kind of a shop, suppose this is a shop, not a house. Okay. This is a shop. Okay. So if I go to a shop or if I go anywhere, if I want to buy something, if I want something or if I want to buy something, there is a cost that I will have to pay. There is a cost that I will have to pay, right or not? To have anything in this world, there is always a price tag for it. There is always a cost that you will have to pay. Likewise, in your consolidation chapter, suppose this is your holding company. Okay, and this suppose is your subsidiary company. Suppose if holding company wants to buy the shares of subsidiary company or wants to have the share of subsidiary company, there is a cost it has to pay. For free, nobody will give you shares, right? So to gain that control, that means what will happen if a company becomes a holding company? What is the main advantage? Can someone tell me? If a company becomes a holding company of another company, what is the main advantage it will have? The main advantage, the foremost advantage that this holding company is going to enjoy is the control. Once again, it is nothing but the why is it not? Once again, yeah. Okay. So it is nothing but the control it is going to get on the other company. So the main advantage it has is nothing but the control that it is going to get on the subsidiary companies. So to enjoy this control, only a company becomes a holding company of another company. To get this control, you have to get more than 50% of shares in the subsidiary company, that we all know. Okay, so to get this control, to get the shares in the subsidiary company, to enjoy this control, you will have to pay a cost. You will have to pay a cost. This cost is only seen in the books of consolidation as, okay, yes, no issues, you can leave, no problem, take care. Okay, so here, sorry guys, so what was I saying? So here regarding the cost, so what will happen now is that regarding the cost of control, so what this cost you have to pay to subsidiary company to get the control, that you have understood. So in how, where is this cost shown in the books? So in this books you have something known as your investments in subsidiary company. Just now we saw so many sums where it was written investments in subsidiary company. So investments in subsidiary company is nothing but the amount. It is actually not the cost. Cost is different, amount is different. I will tell you what is the difference. So here investments in subsidiary company means what is the amount you have paid to get the control over the subsidiary company. See here, come here. See. So here how you find out the cost of control. Cost of control, I hope now you have got a clear idea. So to get a control over the company, what is the cost you are paying? That is paid by the holding company, you will see here. Okay. So here what happens is that, see, if suppose, so here what is the format is that you will do investments in subsidiary companies, and then you will reduce your pre-acquisition share of net assets. Okay, so first I'll explain this to you. So what happens is you go to a subsidiary company, you buy the subsidiary company. Okay, okay, so that will be shown in your balance sheet in a name called as investments in subsidiary company. In the balance sheet of holding company, there will be a in the asset side, you will have something known as investment in subsidiary company. I'll show. In this sum also we had. See, here you can see you have investments in subsidiary company. So this is the amount that the holding company has paid to get a share in the subsidiary company. Okay. So here now what has happened is that, so here now what you're going to do is that you're going to find something known as cost of control. So whatever the investments in subsidiary companies are there, that you will have to write it here. Along with that, what you have to do is you have to reduce, okay, the pre-acquisition share of net profits. That means, see, when the company, when a holding company acquired a subsidiary company, it paid a certain amount of rupees. Suppose it paid 10 lakh rupees. Okay, suppose it paid 10 lakh rupees, and this 10 lakh rupees will be your investments in subsidiary company. Now, I told here you have to reduce this pre-acquisition share of net profits. That means what has happened is, before the holding company even became a holding company, before this company even became a holding company, pre-acquisition, this subsidiary company would have made some pre-acquisition profits. This subsidiary company would have made some pre-acquisition profits, right? But holding company was not a part of the company when the subsidiary company made pre-acquisition profits, correct? But still, a share of pre-acquisition profits will go to the holding company, but still a share of pre-acquisition profits is going to go to the holding company. How? See, here we saw, right? See, this is pre-acquisition. See, here this was pre-acquisition. This pre-acquisition 13 lakh rupees. When this pre-acquisition profits was earned, holding company was actually not a holding company of subsidiary company. After this date of acquisition only, it became a holding company. But still, we give a share to the holding company, that is 7,80,000 rupees. We have given a share to the holding company, right? So what happens, even though the holding company pays a X amount, suppose it has paid 10 lakh rupees to gain, even though it has paid 10 lakh rupees to get to get the subsidiary company shares, it is getting advantage of 7 lakh 8. So I will continue now. So what happens is, even though it is paying a amount of 10 lakh rupees, so even though it is paying a amount of 10 lakh rupees, here it gets a advantage of pre-acquisition profits of 7 lakh 80,000 rupees. So it gets an advantage of this 7 lakh 80,000 rupees also. So what happens, even though I am paying 10 lakh rupees, the company is giving me back a pre-acquisition profit of 7 lakh 80,000 rupees, right? So here the balance, whatever I have paid, is only going to be the cost of control. Okay, so the balance whatever I paid is only going to be the cost of control. So here what you have to do, you have to do investment in subsidiary company. You have to first write that. Then you have to do minus pre-acquisition share of net assets. Where will you take this pre-acquisition share of net assets? You have to take this 7,80,000. That means under pre-acquisition column, whatever is the holding interest pre-acquisition share, that alone you will have to take the 7,80,000 and then write it here. And then write it here. Here you write 7,80,000. Then when you do when you reduce this from the investments, you will get some kind of a number here or some kind of a amount here. If this amount is positive, that means it is goodwill. If the amount is negative, that means it is capital reserve. Okay, so this alone you have to remember, and this is your working notes. That's it, guys. So investment in subsidiary company will directly be given in your question. Then pre-acquisition share of net profits, you can get it, net assets, you can get it from the working note number 1. So these two, if you get it, you will get your goodwill and your capital reserve. Okay, so this is how you find out your goodwill and capital reserve. So now let's solve a sum related to this. Okay, so now we'll solve a sum related to this. Okay, so now can someone, okay, so this is the first example that we solved, right? So the example in front of you is the first example that we solved. Now using this, try to find out the cost of control. So now let's, using this information, we'll try to find out the cost of control. Wait, I'll just remove the extras, whatever are here around, so you don't get. Okay. Okay. Yes. So whatever is there, I have erased it. Okay, so now using this information, if you are told to find out the cost of control, please try to find out the cost of control and tell me. Let me also do it here. Here I'll do. So what is the cost of control? So the cost of control, first I have to write investments in S Limited. How much is investment in S Limited? It is nothing but 5 lakh rupees. Right? Next what do you have? Next what you have to write? So next what you have to write, you have to do minus pre-acquisition share of net assets in pre-acquisition share of net assets in subsidiary company. Okay, so here, what is the pre-acquisition share of net assets here? Pre-acquisition share of net assets here of the holding company is 7,80,000. So you do minus 7,80,000. So when you do so, you will get amount. So how much is that? So it is 5 lakh minus 7,80,000. So here the answer is minus 2,80,000. Very good, Parvati. So it is minus 2,80,000. So here what did I tell you? So if it is coming as plus 2,80,000, you will give it a name of goodwill. But if it is coming in minus, you will have to name it as capital reserve. You will have to name it as capital reserve. So the capital reserve is minus 2,80,000. So this was your second working note. Do you have any doubt in this? Is the second working note also clear? We'll move on to the third working note now. Okay. Okay, very good. So the third working note is minority interest. I have already told you what is minority interest. So here what you have to do, nothing, very easy. Third note, third working note, you have to find out minority interest. So what is the minority interest? It is share of net assets. Share of net assets, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. So here we found out the share of net assets, right? Go to the first working note. This is our first working note. So in this working note, we found out pre-acquisition also, post-acquisition also. So in this pre-acquisition and post-acquisition, whatever is the share of minority interest, that will be your third working note. So what is the share? Can you please tell me? So first here you have to write the pre-acquisition share of net assets. So can you tell me what is, someone can you tell me what is the share of pre-acquisition profits of minority interest? Pre-acquisition profits of minority interest. What is the share here? Can you please tell me? So it is nothing but 5,20,000. So pre-acquisition share of minority interest is 5,20,000. Whereas post-acquisition share of minority interest is 19,200 plus 20,800. It is 19,200 plus 20,800. If you add all of these, you will get it here. So here how much was pre-acquisition? Pre-acquisition was 5,20,000. How much is post-acquisition? It was 19,200 plus 20,800, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm correct or wrong. Okay. Yes. So if you add these, so now let's add these. It is 5,20,000 plus 19,200 plus 20,800. So the total is 5,60,000. So this 5,60,000 is nothing but your minority interest. So this 5,60,000 is nothing but your minority interest. So is the third working note also clear to you? So here again we'll go on to the first working note. So here see. So here in holding interest under pre-acquisition profit. Here wait a second. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So here what will happen is whatever the once again. Okay. So whatever the holding interest of pre-acquisition profit is, it is going to go to your working note number 2 and get reduced from investments. Whatever the minority interest is, let it be pre-acquisition or post-acquisition, everything is going to go to working note number 3 and is going to get added to find out your total minority interest. So what is the one thing that you have left here? The one thing that you have left here is this one. The post-acquisitions share of holding interest is 28,800 and 31,200. So by default, where is this figures going to go? Can someone tell me in which working note will these figures go? Parvati, can you please answer? Where are these figures going to go? All the things you have already distributed. One to working note number 2, other to working note number 3. The left is post-acquisition share of this holding interest. So where is this two amounts going to go? To the last working note, that is your working note number 4. Very good. So this is working note number 4. These both amounts you have to take. So now let's understand what is the working note number 4 and then we will see. Okay. So working note number 4. So working note number 4 is nothing but the consolidation of reserves in surplus. So what is consolidation of reserves in surplus means? Here you are doing the consolidation of reserves and surplus of holding company. Okay. So this is a consolidation of reserves and surplus of holding company. So holding company has general reserve and P&L account. Okay. So whatever was the opening balance of reserves and surplus of holding company, or the closing balance, not the opening. Whatever was the closing balance, that is in H company, H Limited's balance sheet, there would have been a few reserves and surplus, right? So those closing balance of reserves and surplus of H Limited or holding company you have to write here. Then along with that, you have to add share of post-acquisition net assets from working note number 1. The last two things which I told you, right? So if you add those things also, you will get your consolidated reserves and surplus. You will get your consolidated reserves and surplus. So this is how you do your last working note. Okay. So I hope so. We will try to solve a sum for this also and see if in the question the answer is available. Yes. So from the question we can solve this. So here I'll just copy paste the format if possible. Wait, give me a second. Okay, right? Yes. See, here we'll try to solve. Give me a second. Just clear this out. Okay. So here now we are going to solve the working note number 4. So what is the working note number 4 here? Wait. Yes. So here the working note number 4. First, what you have to find out the closing balance of reserves and surplus of holding company. Can someone tell me what is the reserves and surplus balance of holding company? First, we'll start with the general reserve. Okay. So here, if you go to the question, see here you can see the general reserve. The general reserve of H Limited is 3 lakh. Profit and loss account of H Limited is 3 lakh rupees. So first, these both amounts you'll have to go and write. How much was general reserve? The general reserve was 3 lakh. How much was the P&L account? It was 3 lakh. Next, you have share of post-acquisition net assets. So share of post-acquisition net assets, you have to go to the post-acquisition column. Post-acquisition column, and then you have to see regarding to holding interest, what are the post-acquisition numbers. So it is 28,800 and 31,200. So you have to come here 21,800 and 31,200. So if you add these both, you will get your consolidated general reserve and consolidated P&L account. Okay. So this is your 4th working note, known as a consolidation of reserves and surplus of the holding company. Okay. So today in the class, what and all we have seen, I hope it is clear. So those were the 4 working notes. So now let's recap whatever we have seen in today's class. So first we started by understanding what is known as consolidation of financial statements. We started by understanding what is consolidation of financial statements. So in consolidation of financial statements, we understood we have two topics. One is consolidation of balance sheet and consolidation of P&L account. Okay. Once we understood this, we saw how consolidation of balance sheet is done. It is nothing but you add the assets and liabilities of the holding and subsidiary company, and the equity part alone you will do it differently. Okay, where you will only write the holding company's equity and you will not write the subsidiary company's equity. One more point that you had to remember was the investments in subsidiary company also in the assets column you will not show. Okay. The second thing that we started was with seeing our 4 working notes. Okay, in the 4 working notes we had, the first working note was analysis of net assets. So analysis of net assets we did using the equity approach. Once again, we did using the equity approach, right? So we did using the equity approach. Analysis of net assets of, actually it was analysis of net assets of subsidiary companies. Subsidiary companies, equity share capital, general reserve and P&L. We split it into 3. We split it into 2. One as pre-acquisition and other as post-acquisition. And once we split all the net assets of subsidiary company into pre-acquisition and post-acquisition, the next step what we did was is we again then split this pre into holding interest and minority interest and holding interest. And again the post-acquisition also we split it into holding interest and minority interest. So this was our working note number 1. What was the working note number 2? Working note number 2 was nothing but cost of control. So in cost of control, what we did, so whatever was the investment in subsidiary company, we did it minus whatever the holding interest share was there of pre-acquisition profit. So pre-acquisition profits, share of holding interest we did. So what is the pre-acquisition share of holding interest? So pre-acquisition share of holding interest, we took this amount and we wrote it here in the second working note. Okay, and when we did this, we can either get the answer in positive form or negative form. If we get in positive, we'll consider it as goodwill. If we get it in negative form, we'll consider it as capital reserve. Okay. Now the third working note. What was the third working note? It was nothing but your minority interest. So minority interest was easy. So whatever the share of pre-acquisition and post-acquisition profits belong to minority interest, we wrote it in the third working note. So it was nothing but in pre-acquisition profits, minority interest, and post-acquisition share of minority interest. These both we took and wrote it in a third working note. Okay, done. Then when we added these both, we got a minority interest. Then we saw the fourth working note. What was the fourth working note? The fourth working note was consolidation of reserves and surplus. So in this working note, what we did already, what was the closing balance of holding companies reserves and surplus we saw. We wrote general reserve separately and P&L separately. So using the balance sheet of holding company on the date of consolidation, we wrote these both. Once after writing these, what we did, we added the post-acquisition share. We added the post-acquisition share of net assets to the holding company. Where did we find the post-acquisition share of the holding company? We found it out here. So here was a post-acquisition from the working note number 1, holding interest related to post-acquisition. We took and we wrote this into the working note number 4, and thereby our working note number 4 was also completed. So this was all that we learned in today's class. Do you guys have any doubt in this? Any doubt? Can we solve a full-fledged question using these 4 working notes? Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? So also these are the 4 working notes that you have to permanently prepare in all the questions of consolidated financial statements. In all the questions of consolidated financial statements, you have to do this question. Okay. So these 4 working notes are permanent. Only if you solve these 4 working notes, you'll be able to proceed with the question of consolidation of financial statements. Do you guys have any doubt? Okay. I hope you don't have any doubt. Okay. So this is the question from your ICAI textbook only. Okay. So this is like all concepts in one question. So in this question, you are going to use to find, so in this question, they have told you from the following data, determine in each case. So you have to find out, first you have to start by finding out what is the minority interest. Minority interest, you have to find it on the date of acquisition also and at the date of consolidation also. Minority interest here doesn't mean the minority interest percentage. The working note number 3, which we did, minority interest, that you have to find out on the date of acquisition and date of consolidation. So this is nothing but your working note number 3. Next, they have told you to find out goodwill or capital reserve. Okay, can someone tell me where do you find out this goodwill or capital reserve from which working note? Working note number 1, 2, 3 or 4? Can someone tell me? Working note number 2. Very good, Sangeeta. So it is working note number 2. That is your working note of cost of control. So if you do this, you will be able to find out your goodwill or capital reserve. Finally, they have told you that amount of holding company's profit. Amount of holding company's profit in the consolidated balance sheet. This means it is nothing but they have told you to find out your working note number 4. That is, what is the share of profits of holding company, consolidated reserves and surplus of holding company. That you have to find out, assuming that the holding company's own profit and account to be 2 lakh in each case. That means the closing balance of holding company's profit and loss account was 2 lakh. That you have to keep in mind and solve your working note number 4. Okay. So these are the 3 working notes that we have to solve in this question, and regards to that, all the information has been given. So please tell me, before we start solving our working note number 2, 3 and 4, what is the first thing that we have to do? Actually, there are 2 things that we have to do first. One is that you have to write all your general information. General information consists of date of acquisition, consolidation date, holding interest, minority interest. 4 details you have to write. Second thing that you have to do, okay, you guys tell me, what is the second thing that we'll have to do to, actually solve the working note number 2, 3 and 4? What is the second thing that you'll have to do? If you guys answer this, that means your concepts are very clear. What is the second thing that you have to do? Without that, you will not be able to prepare your working note number 2, 3 and 4. Am I getting the reply slowly? Is it? Okay, so I will itself tell you. So you have to prepare your working note number 1 in all the cases to do your working note 2, 3 and 4. Without working note number 1, you cannot solve your working note 2, 3 and 4. Correct? Okay, guys, very good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you a 15 minutes break.
So yes guys, we have come towards the end of the video. This sum is actually there in the ICAI module, so you can solve the sum and go and check your answer with the ICAI textbook. If you still want me to solve it in the next video, you can comment down that below. And also if you need more in this series of consolidated financial statement where I pick up even more adjustments and practice a full-fledged sum with you, please let me know in the comment section below. Hope it was useful to you. If it was, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to share it with your friends. Thank you.